Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. Glad to have everybody today. And thank you for joining. I'm curious, just like a technical thing, am I landscape or portrait on my screen? Because I set it for portrait, but it looks like it's not on my end. So I think most people are on their phones, so I think portrait is better. Oh, great. Thank you for that. Hi, Susie, Nancy, Kat. Excuse me. Yeah, it is also chilly here in Mexico, where I live at 5,000 feet or over 5,000 feet elevation on the biggest lake in Mexico, surrounded by beautiful mountains, all right outside my window. So I'm really glad to be here with everybody today. And excited for what we're going to be doing this morning. So wherever you are in the world, you're welcome. Please say hello if you'd like. And we're going to be talking about something very impactful and powerful and important to me personally, because it was so impactful for me. So the title of today's session is called The End of Self-Gaslighting. I'm also going to be I am in a creation process of an online course here on Insight Timer called the same thing, The End of Self-Gaslighting. So stay tuned for that. I've had lots of technical issues that have gotten in the way, so hopefully those will be resolved soon. Oh, interesting, Kat. Yeah, that's very cold for Florida for sure. So if you are new here, please say hello if you would like, or give an emoji in the chat if you feel like interacting. Those who haven't, and you can just do so in whatever way feels good for you, just giving a like or whatever, or an emoji or a word. And your energy is valuable and important here, your presence, regardless of how you interact. I welcome you, I appreciate you, and I'm glad we are all here. Patricia, wonderful. So we're going to be diving into this topic today called self-gaslighting, what that means, and what the impact is, and how to start spotting it and doing something about it, because it's such an insidious pattern. Most people don't even know that they're doing it. And I even just had a session last week with a client here, and yeah, I mean, they're very aware, they're very committed to their spiritual and personal development journey, and when I shared this concept with them, they were blown away. They could see where they were doing it, but before I pointed it out, they didn't. And as a life coach, that's actually the power of coaching, is having somebody on the outside being able to look in and observe and be objective about people's blind spots. And this was a blind spot for them, and it's made a big difference for them already, even in less than a week. So I'm excited to bring this to you. Welcome, Denise, Heather from New York. Glad to have you. Yeah, so please give me a follow if you don't already. I'll pop up the follow card. On Tuesday, it's 11:11, and at 11 a.m. my time, it will be 11 a.m. for some, and for many of you not, but Tuesday morning, it would be 12 p.m. Eastern in the U.S. We are going to be doing an 11:11 portal live stream, and I'm going to be drawing cards, and we're going to be doing energy healing and clearing. So usually we do that today, and because of the 11:11, I wanted to switch things up and offer that session at that time. So please join for that. If you follow me, you'll be notified of all my live streams when they're scheduled. I also have a group here called Natalie's Healing Circle and Insight Timer. Please join. We can stay connected there outside of our live streams. And you can stay tuned for announcements as well. So, let's see. So I want to open up this topic with just asking you all, do you have a concept or do you have an inkling of what self-gaslighting is and what that means? I imagine most people understand gaslighting at this point. It's become such a popular buzzword and a very popular topic around relationship dynamics. So for most people, we talk about gaslighting from the view of narcissism, and that, the narcissist gaslights the victim. And it came from, I don't know how many of you know this, but a movie in the 1940s or somewhere along a while ago, where, the abuser in the movie, of course it wasn't about narcissism specifically that long ago. But it was, and I could be wrong, and if somebody knows for sure, but this is what I understand, that it was something about, them turning up the lighting in the room and turning it up higher, and then the other person would be like, did you turn up the lights? And they were like, no. So, like, very simply, that's what I understand where that word came from. So some of you sounds like you have heard of this and where it came from. And yeah, there's, all the details are online, and I'm not an expert in, where that came from, but sounds like, yeah. I mean, that's the gist of it, right? So somebody did something, the person responded, asking about that or saying, why'd you do that? And then the person denies it, the gaslighter. So that's the essence of it, totally. And Michelle, hello Michelle, saying, so then if we look at self-gaslighting, and yes, it is self-sabotage. So I want to share, this example I'm going to share with you. It's about from my own life. I swear, y'all, this was one of the most powerful moments for me in receiving coaching with my own coach, and I've been doing this almost 5 years. Yeah, I mean, and it's the power of working with a coach, because I did not see that I was doing this. And then once, he pointed it out as it was happening in our session. I couldn't unsee it, and I have never been able to unsee it. And now I'm changed, and I'm changing my relationship with myself and how I interact with myself as a result of that. And it has been very powerful and profound. And of course, I've been able to help others with it as well. So I don't even remember exactly what I was talking about in this session. This was maybe probably 9 months ago now. But, he stopped me talking, and I can't even remember what he said. I can't even remember how he pointed it out. But he was like, basically the essence was, do you see that you're making yourself wrong for how you feel about whatever we were talking about? And I was like, no. And so he started validating my feelings and validating my experience. And it was just this profound awakening that I had as a result of that. And I finally saw it. And then what was very interesting was, like, in the next day or a few days after, I was meditating, or trying. If we're meditating, we're meditating, regardless of how well we think we're doing it. I was meditating, and I was very upset by a personal situation with a relationship in my life. And I was trying to work with it, all the stuff we talk about in here, the acceptance, the letting go, the Michael Singer stuff with relaxing and releasing, and, being the witness of the sensations. And I was trying to I was doing my best. I hate the word try. I was doing my best with all of that. But then I noticed that there was this subtle, deeper layer where, it was pretty almost unconscious that I had like this deep programming underneath that was like, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be this upset about this situation. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I especially shouldn't be, feeling this way in my meditation, when I'm trying to meditate here. And the minute that I saw, this is the thing, this is this self-gaslighting, I burst into tears, because there was this aha moment and this awakening, and then this relaxation in my body. Because I knew I was in resistance, but I wasn't aware of that, the mechanics of it. And I could finally see it. And yeah, Heather, it is an inner critic, and we all know we have an inner critic, and we all, at times can hear that voice. But this layer of it where it was like, it's not okay how I feel. It's not okay how I feel. I'm wrong for how I'm feeling. I shouldn't be feeling this way. When that became conscious, it's been a game changer for me in my own relationship with myself and my life. Even yesterday, I was meditating. And in my meditation, I imagine we all do this, or most of us. It's like, okay, I sit down, close my eyes, my mind just goes off, and then I'm totally not there. And then I recognize that I've gone away, and then I come back. And like consciously I know, the power of meditation is when I wake up from the identification with thought, and how do I bring myself back to myself and back to the meditation practice. Tara Brach talks about celebrate, each time you wake up and bring yourself back, and even if it's like 30 times a minute, how do you bring yourself back? Do you bring yourself back to your meditation practice with loving, with patience, with compassion, or is it frustration? And I've known and I've worked with that concept for many years in my meditation, and adding in this concept of the self-gaslighting made it even more tangible and real and like visible, to where yesterday when I noted, my mind was just, doing its thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm just making myself wrong for how I'm meditating. Like I'm not doing it good enough. I'm not doing it right. I'm failing in my meditation practice. And the minute, again, that I noticed, here it is, here's the self-gaslighting, this inner relaxation came that was very powerful. It was like, it shows up everywhere. So, give a word in the chat or an emoji in the chat of what is coming up for you right now around this. How can you identify? How do you see this in your own life? And this is part of what I work with clients all the time, because it comes up so often, and it really is a rewiring and a repatterning of this old habit that's so insidious. And what I notice the most is, like, when I do this in real time, there's this energetic relaxation. There's this energetic ease and peace and that comes. Because for those of us on this spiritual journey, which we all are on if we're in this app, is we're constantly working to improve ourselves and be our best self, and repattern our thinking and think positively and flip the script, and those things are all great. Or it's like, I know I need to practice compassion, I know I need to be gentle with myself. But the thing is that I see over and over in other people and myself too, is like we jump straight to the fixing. And it really, that's spiritual bypassing. And so, what I invite clients into is, let's pause first. It makes sense that you feel this way. Of course you're upset. It's understandable. Given everything up until now in your life, in the circumstance, in the situation, of course you would feel the way you feel. And just that is such medicine for people's souls and spirits. And yeah, it can be looked at too as perfectionism in this constant striving to improve. I did probably like a year-long book study here in Insight Timer in one of my live stream series on the book called There's Nothing Wrong With You. Was there anybody here who went through that with me? But this book is so powerful because it's about changing the paradigm in the system of how we relate to ourselves. For me, the biggest takeaway from that book is, like, we've got to come out of this paradigm of there's something wrong with me and I need fixed and I'm not okay exactly as I am. Because when we come from that, we're always going to be on this journey of fixing. The book is called There's Nothing Wrong with You. And so really it's about coming out of the something wrong with me paradigm into a whole new paradigm. And it's a come from, it's a foundation that there's nothing wrong with me. I mean, when a baby is born, I mean, aside from physical abnormalities or something like that, there is nothing wrong with a baby. A baby can't be any quote better than it is. A baby is whole and complete in its energy and it doesn't even have a self-belief at that point. It just is. It's innocence. It's this pure essence. The baby doesn't come out of the womb needing, to be fixed, or there's nothing wrong with it. And yet, then we evolve, we grow up and we get an ego, and it's part of being human and functioning in this world and surviving in this world, and that's where, things get off track. And so, we've got to switch the come from. So the self-gaslighting is part of that paradigm. There's something wrong. So I'm in my making of my online course here in Insight Timer. That's what we're going to dive into. Where did it come from? Where did it start? How to work with ourselves in the moment, what we can do about it, how we can start flipping the script and changing the pattern. Hi, J.E. Hi, Erin. Yeah, you're welcome. Great. Glad to see you. That's when you discovered me, J.E. That's been quite a while ago. Awesome. So, I want you all to think of a situation, and it might be, if you're anything like me, it might be the last time you meditated, or it might be something else, specific to you. And it's interesting, like the aha moment I had 9 months ago after the coaching session was I was meditating also. When we slow down like that, we can see things. But how many times, can you start to notice where you make yourself wrong for how you feel or for your reaction? What's coming up for you around this? What are you seeing? Even yesterday, I can think of a million examples because I've been working with this and can see it. In the beginning, it might be a little bit harder to piece it out for yourself. Ooh, interesting, Heather. Yeah, so is there any layer within yourself, or even maybe when it happened, you had the anger reaction, was there a moment where it was like, I shouldn't feel this way, I'm getting too upset? It might even be subconscious, or I don't like that I'm angry, I shouldn't be angry. If there's anything like that, that would be the self-gaslighting. For me, I even was in a situation yesterday. I was at lunch with friends and I said something that I perceived somebody didn't like. And then, then came the second guessing, then came the I shouldn't have said that. And then so the self-gaslighting layer is that stuff, and also I shouldn't, like, and this is the spiritual bypassing as well. I shouldn't let this situation upset me because it's stupid. Or I shouldn't let this bother me. It was nothing. How many of you can relate to that? Like discounting your own experience. And I noticed this morning, I woke up, that situation crossed my mind. So I said something, I perceived a unpleasant reaction in somebody else, and this stuff just kind of happened almost subconsciously, but it was like I'm wrong for what I said, and then I'm wrong that I'm allowing it to upset me. So the end of self-gaslighting is slowing down enough to be like, and I always call myself sweetie, like that's what I call the wounded part, little Natalie, the inner child, sweetie. Whenever I'm working with myself with compassion, I'll put my hand on my heart and I'll just be like, sweetie, it makes sense that you're upset. Of course, you want people to like you. It's understandable. So just even that, and I mean, if you can't say it out loud, I mean, you don't have to say it out loud, but however you do it in the moment, yeah, it makes sense that I would feel that way. And Heather, yes, it makes sense that you're angry, whatever the situation is. It's understandable. Now, so I have a resource that I can share with all of you. If you send me a private message, it's called The End of Self-Gaslighting. It's a 2-page PDF that outlines briefly this. And on page 2, there is a part about loving accountability. Okay, because we don't want to fall into self-pity, and we don't want to fall into, well, fuck everyone and I'm just gonna walk all over you or do something crazy, right? We don't want to use this as an excuse for bad behavior or for inaction even. So, after working with yourself, validating yourself, makes sense, I feel this way, totally get it, of course, I'm upset, it hurts, and it makes sense, and I'm not wrong for that, then, so if it's about like taking action or something like that, then you can talk to yourself in a way using loving accountability statements like, yes, and now we're going to do this, or I'm here with you as we take the next step, like something like that. So I want you all to think about, what feeling do you habitually talk yourself out of? What feeling do you talk yourself out of? For me, it's like it shows up in so many places. I mean, I'm giving you some examples. I think a lot of times, if I feel hurt, that is a big one that I think it's not okay. Like, I shouldn't be upset about this. It's not a big deal. So that's the self-gaslighting. I'm overreacting. Or other people have it worse. How many of you have done that one? Well, I shouldn't be unhappy that I didn't get the raise because some people don't even have a job. So it can come up in so many places. So we'll just pause here for a moment. If you haven't followed me already here on Insight Timer, that really helps me. Yeah, and also this is being double live streamed on my YouTube channel, so you can follow me over there, Facebook, Instagram, check out my website. And if you want support on this and you haven't experienced coaching with me or a gifted conversation, I am offering that to my community here. So if you feel, this is impacting you, or you can see things you haven't seen before already, in a one-on-one conversation, we can go a lot deeper with this, and I'm happy to offer that complimentary if you send me a message. So follow that heart's call. So we want to look at briefly why we do this. Where did this come from? And of course, like everything, you guessed it, it comes from good old childhood upbringing. Hello, Laura. Oh, interesting. Okay. Glad that you're back, Heather. So, how many of you can remember in childhood being told to stop crying? Yeah, exactly, Patricia. You're too sensitive. Stop crying. You cry too much. It's not a big deal. Why are you so upset? It's nothing. Get over it. So given that, doesn't it make complete sense that we would do that to ourselves and invalidate our own feelings? Because it basically is, in its root, I'm wrong for how I feel. So, and another part of that is like, so then once we get conditioned into that, then we push our feelings down. We try not to show our feelings so much or talk about them or share them because we don't want to create waves. We don't want to create strife in the family system. We want to have harmony. And of course, it all boils down to fear. So, that's kind of like where it comes from in childhood. And then as adults, we keep ourselves from being disappointed by, or we protect. It's a self-protection mechanism as well. And as I said, it's spiritual bypassing. Like last week, the client I had, it was very much, she was going straight into correcting the thoughts, correcting the issue, which is great. But if we're coming from a place of, I shouldn't have reacted that way, I shouldn't be feeling this way, we need to give medicine to that part first before we go into the solution. So, the first step of everything, any kind of change, is always awareness. So now, moving forward, I want you all to start noticing, when are you making yourself wrong for how you feel or what you feel? And again, this doesn't excuse bad behavior or make us, not accountable for our behavior. This is I see it as the first step. We have whatever the feeling is, the response, the reaction inside of ourselves. There's a feeling that comes up. We think we shouldn't be having it. And then the next layer is I shouldn't feel like this. I shouldn't be reacting this way. I should be more evolved, more spiritual, whatever the thought is. And then, it goes on from there. So we want to just validate ourselves first, that loving compassion for ourselves. Because it's a turning against ourselves and being an enemy to ourselves. Because that's what, we were conditioned with. So the first step to changing this is having the awareness that it's happening in the moment. And then pausing and noticing. And, you may want to even consciously think I'm really hurt. This really hurts. I'm really angry. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I'm irritated. So just naming what's happening. And then the medicine, the compassion, the end of self-gaslighting. So before going into the solution, before going into all the spiritual concepts, which are great, we want to use those phrases. It's totally understandable that I feel this way. It makes sense that I'm upset. It's okay. I'm not wrong for how I feel. So another way to look at this in essence is reparenting. Because it's the wounded child that, their stuff gets hit. And then it hurts. And because if you didn't have, loving caregivers, you never got the validation. You never got it. So then you never learned to give it to yourself. So this is reparenting also of okay, I am going to sit with that part. I'm going to validate that part that's hurt. And then that will heal it. And then we learn to trust ourselves. Because it's a self-betrayal, it's a self-sabotage, as somebody mentioned. And so then we can even ask, what does this part need right now? What do I need right now? What does this feeling need right now? And what I love about this, for me and many that I work with, it's so instant. It's just this instant release, this instant ease, this instant relaxation. Because the old pattern is just tense. It's full of tension. So you can't heal what you keep putting on trial and making wrong. So, we're just going to take a few minutes now and do a closed eye practice with this. So I invite you all to close your eyes. And I want you just to bring to mind a situation where you notice this pattern like a very specific situation in which it happened recently. And again, of course, like that you can handle looking at, not something super traumatic, but stressful. And just imagine yourself there now. And just tune into the felt state in the body in that experience. It could be something when you were alone or with others, it doesn't really matter. And you may just have a sense inside of contraction, of tension that comes after the hurt, the anger, the reaction, the disappointment, the sadness. So just drop into the body and then just give yourself that medicine, and you might put a hand on your heart if that feels good. And we just want to breathe here too, because what happens is like we contract and then our breathing is shallow. It might even be something like anxiety. For those of us with, ongoing anxiety, that one can be a very fertile ground for self-gaslighting, because, if we know logically we shouldn't be anxious, but there's no danger around, but we are anxious, then, that's very easy to make ourselves wrong. So just putting a hand on the heart and breathing into that space. And exhaling through the mouth. Just really slowing down in that image. No matter what it is, just imagine now that you are taking a pause and just tell yourself and use a little pet name, like whatever feels good. Darling, baby, sweetie, honey. If you have a nickname for yourself. Just put your hand on your heart and say to yourself, it makes sense that you feel this way. It makes sense that you're angry. It's understandable you're upset right now. It's okay. And it can be really helpful too. I like to do this as well, of just being like, given the entirety of my life circumstances, given my upbringing, given everything I've been through, of course I'm going to feel this way right now, and it's okay. It's understandable, it makes sense, and I'm not wrong for how I feel. It's okay, it makes sense, it's understandable. Just feel that relaxation in the heart and in the body. And if you want to take this to a deeper level, like if you have more time or if you're doing it later, then you can do some deeper inner child work here, where you imagine you're in your childhood room in your home, and you as yourself now are going into that room, and your little self is there, and you can sit down next to them, and in their upset you can say these powerful words. Tell me all about it, sweetie. Tell me all about it. Tell me all about your upset. Tell me why you're upset. I'm here for you, and I'm not going anywhere. And I'll be here as long as it takes, as long as you need, as long as you want to share. Tell me all about it, sweetie. And you just listen, and you just be that loving parent that you didn't receive in that moment. So feeling the body on the surface that it's on right now, feeling the heaviness and weight of the body. Can allow the eyes to gently float open. And just give one word or an emoji in the chat of how that experience was for you, what came up for you, how do you feel. And you know, the medicine of that phrase, tell me all about it, sweetie, is so powerful, because if we came from a dysfunctional home, we did not get that. We did not get, in a moment of upset, a loving caregiver holding space and saying, tell me all about it. It was like, stop crying, oh, let me fix it. You know, some caregivers might go into fix-it mode. Without giving space. So you get to do that now, because you are the parent that, you know, you're waiting for. So if you want to go deeper into this work, as I mentioned, if you've not had a complimentary session with me before, please reach out. Send me a message through here or any platform. You can find my profile here and all my links. And you don't have to do this alone. You know, this deep work, it's so helpful to have support. And you can say, you know, I believe in myself. I believe in you, if you're speaking to your little self. Hi, Laura. Wonderful. Glad you were here, Laura. You're welcome. J.E., Patricia. Yeah, I mean, it to me, it's so deeply ingrained. And it's like, conceptually, we all know, if you're here in this app and you have some sort of spirituality, oh, I need to have self-love. I need to have self-compassion. But it's just like this idea up here that has nowhere to actually go, and it's like we try to force ourselves in the moment. I should be compassionate towards myself, but you're feeling all this shit inside where it's like, well, but I just feel horrible and I don't like the way I feel, and there's a judgment there, you know, like there's self-judgment. It's this big ball. It's like this totally wound up. So these simple phrases and everything we've gone over is just medicine to drop in to that. If you care to give a donation for today, that also really helps me out here on Insight Timer. You can do so there on the screen if you would like. I just find it so powerful, and you know, I do this often in my sessions, is we just get into the body, we just slow down, we really slow down, because in life we don't slow down. And slowing down, like being held in space with another and really being with what's here, it's so healing. Also, don't forget Tuesday on the 11/11 portal at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We will be doing a collective card reading for the portal, and energy healing and clearing and spirit messages. So make sure you join for that. You're welcome, Heather. Yeah, we're almost at 11/11 Tuesday. I want to pull one card if I can reach it. I just want to get an energy of of this dynamic. Ooh, of course, the devil. The devil popped out. Yeah, the devil is fear, the devil is addiction, the devil is conditioning. And you know, it's like the past patterns and conditioning that have us like a puppet on a string. You know, this subconscious programming that's not helpful or useful, it controls us until it doesn't, until we wake up from the pattern. Wonderful, Nancy. Well, Nancy, I love that you said this. Working with the hurt feelings, expectations versus reality. So this is awesome because we're going to see this in real time here. Before you go into expectations versus reality, this is where you slow down and be like, it makes sense that I feel this way. It makes sense that I'm hurt. It makes sense that I'm let down. It makes sense that I'm sad. So, do you see, it's like, it's so, we just go into the solution. And it's great, and you want to go there, but if you go there while stepping over in the hurt, it can be like, I'm trying to fix it, I'm making myself wrong that I'm hurt because I should know, I have expectations and I should be in reality. And that's where the spiritual bypassing can come in too. So it's not that you don't go into the solution, but if you just step over validating yourself, there's this unhealed piece or this unattended to tension and energy that's still there. It's not going into the solution and overstepping the feelings doesn't cure it, doesn't cure the hurt. It's self-gaslighting. And you're not wrong for if you did that, it makes sense. Yeah, the devil has come up. So, and it can be very compelling, you know. I mean, the devil's very powerful, and look how hot he is. I mean, so, yeah. And then I had to show you this. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the star. So, you know, within this dynamic is the profound transformation, healing, peace, integration, coming home to yourself, the medicine. Look at how medicinal and healing this is. So, you know, within this, when you start validating yourself, you will transform. And yeah, it's Nancy, we can't change others, and we can change our perception. And before we go into that, it's like, and I'm really hurt, I'm really disappointed. And we don't want to turn it into like a resentment thing, like, I hate them, why'd they do that? No, it's only just about validating my feelings, and that's it. It's understandable I feel this way, given this situation, given everything that's happened with these people and with this situation. Of course, I'm really sad. I'm really disappointed. I'm really let down. I'm really angry. It makes sense that I feel this way. And once you notice an internal shift in your energy, you notice a bit of release, then you go into, I can't change others, I need to adjust my perception, I'm having expectations, and that's not reality. But if you step over the validation, self-validation, then you're gaslighting yourself with these spiritual concepts. You're making yourself wrong for how you feel by saying all of that. And that's not wrong either. That's the conditioning. Hi Kim, glad you're here. And I do have all my replays on YouTube. If anybody wants to catch this, it will immediately be uploaded. It's going live right now over there as well, so you can catch it there too. This is Light Seers Tarot, one of my favorite decks. You're welcome, Laura. Wonderful, Nancy. Thank you for sharing that. Great example. So I will see you all on Tuesday for the 11/11 portal at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, the Mel Robbins book, the Let Them theory. Yeah, very powerful. And again, this is the same dynamic. Yes, we want to go into let them, and before we do that, we want to say, I'm really upset, and it makes sense. I'm so upset right now. It's understandable. So I think in spiritual communities, when we're on this personal development, self-development, spiritual development journey, there can be even more of a propensity, because we have all these tools and we have all these solutions, that we jump to that before, and then we gaslight ourselves with that. So, cat. Yeah, I am here for me first. I love that, Laura. All right. So, see you all very soon. Much love. Have a wonderful day, and namaste.